Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the Heal Through Feel podcast. Today, I want to talk about accountability, but I don't want to just talk about accountability in the traditional sense. I want to get into how accountability comes into play when we are trying to shift our identity and step into a new version of ourselves. So, thank you again for joining us. I'm so excited to get into this. If you have been following my journey and you haven't yet liked or subscribed to any of my videos, please go ahead and do so. That really does help my channel get out there and really start to build the following to be able to reach people like you who like listening to what I have to say about really important topics around life, love, and growth. So, I want to start with prefacing this conversation with we are all evolving every single day. We are not the same people that we were a week ago, a month ago, a year ago. And some of us are going through even larger transitions, such as becoming empty nesters or getting out of college into the real world. So you've been for, over 20 years in this school environment, and now you're having to transition into working. Or if you're from working your whole life to going into retirement. So we're all kind of transitioning. We all transition to different stages of our life. And those are really massive transitions. But I'm even speaking to the people that are transitioning from maybe going from one career to another. And maybe that's not a huge transition, but it's still a transition that requires knowledge and information on how to navigate in a healthy way that's going to give you the biggest bang for your buck, so to speak. So, when we're talking about accountability, I want to keep in mind throughout this entire conversation that we created the reality that we are currently in. Whether we like our current situation or not, we created it. And I know that that's really difficult for a lot of people to hear. I know that that's really difficult for people to maybe even sometimes admit to themselves or even start to believe for themselves. But it is the truth. We have free will and we have choice in this world, and we have made all of the choices to get us to where we are. I'm not saying that bad situations that have happened to you that were super unfortunate was your fault. What I'm saying is that we make decisions on a micro level that create the macro picture. So, for example, if you have a kid, but you're like, but I didn't want kids, well, you had sex without a condom. Or the condom broke and you didn't take a plan B. And this is not to judge, right? But this is to simply say that we are making choices. We made the choice to go ahead and have the child, right? We made the choice to have unsafe sex. Let's say it is the career that we have. Maybe you grew up being told, oh, you should be a lawyer or a doctor, and that's the steps that you followed. You still made those decisions for yourself. You made that decision. And maybe, I hear a lot of lawyers who are just like, I absolutely hate my job. But if you listen to what they were saying as they were growing up, that was always the plan, right? So we have free will in this life, and we have created the life that we have now. And accountability is tricky because accountability is one of those things that it's really difficult to sit and look at ourselves and say wholeheartedly, I am responsible for this, that, or the other, whatever it may be. And that's exactly what accountability is. It's getting real with yourself and seeing with very clear lenses that I created my reality. And the really cool thing about that is that it gives you control. It gives you control and it gives you hope in knowing, oh, hey, if I created this reality, I can create whatever reality I want. And that is not far-fetched. Because if you think about when Amazon first started, they were a bookstore, online bookstore in a garage. I don't know that he had the vision that he would be as big as he is now, right? But he incrementally created that goal and he believed in himself and he made decisions that was going to get him to where he was. So it's nothing is impossible. Anyone can do anything in this world. And if we get into alignment with our gifts, even the shadow side of ourselves, the things that we think are bad about ourselves, the things that we reject or don't accept or society doesn't accept, even those things are a part of the plan. They're a part of your making so that you can create what you need to create, what's put inside of you naturally. If we are able to get to a place where we take radical accountability for what we've created, that may take some time for us to sit here and be like, wow, yeah, I did create this. I did create that, when you really actually think about it. And then you think about the things that you can create, the things that you desire. And I don't want you to think about anything as being out of reach for you. I want you to think about those dreams, those desires, what you daydream about when you're driving. Maybe it's you being on vacation, maybe it's you working abroad, maybe it's you having children, maybe it's you getting married, maybe it's you driving a nice car. Whatever your daydream is, that reality exists within you. So that means that it is possible to exist outside of you. It's just simple steps, one by one by one by one, that's going to get you there. So let's say it is that you want to find your life partner and you want to get married. What is it going to take for you to become a woman that wants to, or that is desired by the partner or the man that you would like to have in your life? You have to reverse engineer everything. So you think about the man that you want. Maybe he's handsome. Maybe he's kind and generous. Maybe he's very empathetic, right? You think about all these things that you want from a partner, and then you have to think about what they would expect from you. What kind of woman would they want to marry? And then you become that. But you have to have clarity in order to create a new life. Right? This is step number one, because this is a very complex thing. Creating a new life and stepping into a new version of yourself and calling in something that you desire is possible, but it is a long process. It's not let me think about it, let me say affirmations and it's going to happen. No, 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 no. Sometimes it could take upward of 6 months for it to manifest in your life, and that's 6 months of concentrated effort and work. So it starts with clarity. You get clear on exactly what it is that you want and exactly how you can get that, call that into your life. If it's a career, same thing. It's the same thing. You basically figure out what it is that you want to be doing. What's the daydream, right? Don't play small anymore. Don't go with who would hire you, what you could do with the degree that you have, because you're living in reality at that point. I want you to be delusional. I want you to finally have the life that you desire. So you really have to dig deep and say, what is it that I want? And you have to be honest with yourself. And once you are able to understand what it is that you desire, and you, let's go back to career. Let's say it's career that you desire. You have clarity on the big picture. I want to open up a salon that caters to this specific type of person, and I'm open this many days a week, and the decor looks like this, and I charge this much. Like, you think about all of that stuff, you get super clear on the picture, and you keep thinking about that every single moment you have a chance. When you have a moment of quiet, I want you to start daydreaming, bringing that into reality and making it so clear in your mind that the moment someone says, what's your dream? It comes to your mind so quickly. You could feel it, you could smell it, you could see it, you can hear it. Like, all of your senses are lit up. Once you have that level of clarity, then you can understand how you need to start getting there, right? So a person who owns a salon, you don't necessarily even need to know how to do hair and nails or whatever it is that services that you provide. You can hire someone, a technician who does that. In fact, that's sometimes a lot better. that you do it in that way, but you figure out, okay, what do I need? Okay, I'm going to need a space. Okay, I'm going to need maybe an interior designer. Okay, I'm going to need some capital. I'm going to need an LLC. I'm going to need da, 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 da. And you start working towards that. Whether it's you just looking up how much does an LLC cost? That's all you did today. Great, you took a step towards it. And then maybe the next thing is like searching 10 different interior designers in your area and writing their names and numbers down on a piece of paper. Great, you did that. But take incremental steps towards that goal. Because you have been this entire time building and crafting a life that you could just get by with. You've been crafting a life that makes ends meet, or that you feel would be accessible to you. You have not been living in this delusion. You have not been creating intentionally from a soul state, from a dream state. And because a lot of times that takes a lot of work for us. That takes us looking at our inner demons, our inner belief systems. It's looking at or facing our thoughts of, oh, we're not good enough, or we're going to fail, or whatever it may be, rejection, all that stuff. And that's hard. That's really difficult for us to do. But when you kind of live in this delusional state and you start taking steps towards it and you could see it so clearly, it has to manifest in your reality and you cannot fail. And the cool thing about it is that you are going to pursue this with all your heart and all your being. You're not going to give up because this is a soul aligned thing. Okay, so we're intentionally creating this new life. We got that. Now, that's one piece. Through clarity, through understanding, through reverse engineering, and through actions. The other piece that is actually the hardest about this is the fact that you are going to be fighting your ego tooth and nail this entire time. You are going to come up against wanting to self-sabotage. You're going to come up against wanting to fall into your old ways, wanting to just watch Netflix instead of doing the work. Trust me, I've been there. I have been there. But you have to fight and you have to push and you have to literally kill the old version of you that was willing to settle for less. The old version of you that said, oh, this job is just easier to get. The old version of you that says, oh, I will never be able to start this, that, or the other. It's going to take too much time, too much effort, too much work. Well, guess what? The time is going to pass anyway. The time is going to pass anyway. So would you rather start down the path of your dream now? Or would you rather still be in a position that pays you minimum wage or whatever it is, just your minimum amount that you could still get by paycheck to paycheck? Because that's what most Americans do. We don't think big. We don't think that it's possible. And the reason why is because we live in a world that's instant gratification. Everything is so instant for us that things that take time and effort and progression, we don't realize we're already doing that. With all the things in our life, we're already spending the time, the effort, and the progression to learn a new job, to get really good at it, to learn all the rules and regulations in that job, in that position. We're already doing all the hard work. We're just not doing it in something that sets our soul on fire. We're just not doing it in something that we absolutely love, right? We're doing it on something that we think will make us enough money. And that is an easy trap for a lot of people to get into, even ambitious people. Ambitious people, including myself, because I'll speak for myself here. When I first decided to quit my 9-to-5 job and work for myself, I created another 9-to-5 job for myself because I said, oh, I can do this. This will make me some money. I can sustain a life without having to work for somebody else by doing this. And guess what? I was making enough money. I was making more than I was making when I was working at my 9-to-5. But I was just making enough money to kind of get by and be comfortable. But I didn't have like excess. I didn't have a ton that I could invest or put into my savings. No, because I created something that I thought I could do, that was easy, right? It wasn't something that was aligned with my soul. And I have all these different ideas, right? Oh, it's so easy. I could just start a cleaning business and then hire cleaners. And oh, I could just start this business. It's like, why am I wasting my time with ways that I could make money instead of spending this time crafting and building the way that I would absolutely love and be honored to be making money from? Because we all have that. We all have the dream. We just think it's too big because of our current circumstance. Your current circumstance does not dictate what your future will be unless you let it. So if you are allowing your current circumstance, oh, I only have this much money to invest in a business to create what your future is going to be, you will always be spinning your wheels. Right? Like you might have to take out a loan. You might have to borrow money from people. You might have to put yourself in debt. But if it is something that you absolutely love and the dream that you have, you're going to crush it. You're going to do it. You just got to persevere and not give up. And you have to fight your ego. You have to fight the old version of yourself, because the old version of yourself is not going to get you the new desire that you want, the big dream, the big goal. You're going to have to fight for that. And in the moments where your old self wants to step in, you're going to have to say, no, you're not in control. I am. And this is what we're doing. I am wealthy. I am abundant. My current state does not dictate what my future is going to be or look like. I get to choose that, and I'm intentionally doing so. And you get to have this control over your life, and you get to have this inspired action that you're taking. And yes, this may mean that you're going to have to work a job still. This may mean you might have to work 2 jobs and then work on your dream at night, right? But so many people do it, and that's how you build it. And that's how you build it, and that's how you grow. And when you can be authentic to what you truly desire and what you want, the people will come. The people will follow. People are attracted to authenticity. People are attracted and feel other people's light. When they are in their light, when they're living their dream and they're living their purpose and they're doing something that feels good and lights them up, other people are like moths and they will come to your light. That's just how it works. It's energetics. That's how it works. So, all of that to say, that will be the hardest part, is fighting your ego while you are trying to build your dream, because all of the stinky thinking is going to come back up and you're going to want to self-sabotage yourself. So, there's processes to go through in order to know how to navigate that. And I actually created a PDF. It's free. It's on my website. If you go to my Instagram at Heal Through Feel, all one word, and you click the link in the bio, there is a free PDF on how to start navigating the process of stepping into your desired reality. Okay? So let's circle this back to accountability. So now that we know you have created the life that you currently have, now that we know you have the control and the steps on creating the life that you desire, what happens in between that? You get to make decisions in between that. That's either going to bring you closer to where you were and who you were and the life that you had, which is actually down here. And for the people that's just listening to the audio, I'm showing. So I'm putting my finger down low. This is the life you had. And then there's a finger up high. This is the life that you desire. And all of the in between is what you do on a daily basis, every single day. And your subconscious is going to want to take over. But you have to be accountable for the decisions you make, small decisions and big decisions. And everything in between these 2 fingers, everything in between, you're either closer to your desired outcome and your future self and your dream, or you're closer to who you were. And you might, for a few days, be really good, and you might be trucking along, and you might be having thoughts and combating those thoughts and just so good, right? You have a bad thought come up and then you tell yourself, nope, that's not true. That's my old thinking. I'm going to choose to think this instead. And you're constantly combating these thoughts that you're having, and you're moving forward. And you're doing that for a few days or a week or even a few weeks, and you're doing so good. And then something throws you off, because something always does. Maybe it's a really busy time at work. Maybe you have a sick kid. Maybe you end up being sick. Maybe you get really bad news about a family member. Whatever it may be, something is going to throw you off. And the comfort, the survival inside of you, your ego, is going to instantly want to go back to old ways and old thoughts. And you're going to forget. You're going to forget about the goal, right? So it's super important to remember this, that when you are changing into a new version of yourself, which is why a lot of people fail at doing it, you have to fight the ego. It's like, it's fight to the death. It's fight to the death. It's either your old version is going to win or the new version, your future version is going to win. And you get to decide. And it doesn't mean that if you mess up, or it doesn't mean that if you fall off the wagon, or you take a few steps back, that you can't then redo it or start over, because you can. That's the cool thing. You don't erase your progress. Your progress is still there. You pick up from where you left off. You just have to make the decision to pick up, and you have to stay accountable to doing that, because the version of yourself that's coming, you're creating that, and it is all up to you. Okay? So like I mentioned in my last episode, I like to keep these episodes 20, 30 minutes. I hope that you got a lot out of this. I hope that you really got a moment to be like, wow, okay, I have been trying to change my life. I've been trying to go to the gym. I've been trying to change careers. I've been trying to do all this stuff. And always feel like I'm back at square one. It's because, number one, you are not thinking big enough. Number two, you do not have clarity on what that would look like. You can't like recall in the blink of an eye what that vision looks, feels, sounds, and smells like. You need to get there. You need to get there. And then once you have that, you reverse engineer how that's going to happen, how you're going to get there, what you need to do to get there. And then you need to take action steps towards that every single day, even if they're tiny little action steps. And then lastly, you need to fight the negative thoughts in your head telling you that you can't do it, or you're not smart enough, or who do you think you are to try, right? So it's a process, but I hope that that helped you. I hope that that gives you hope, motivation, and a literal blueprint to how you can finally make it stick and start living in alignment with your highest self and your dream and your truest self and your authenticity. Because we need more people doing that. We need more people who are awake and alive to their soul calling and soul purpose. We pay a lot of attention to our bodies, and we sometimes pay attention to our mind, our mental health, but this stuff is soul work. This is soul work. This is the most important work that you can do. So I hope that you loved it. I hope that you enjoyed it. If this resonated with you and you think that it would resonate with someone else, please, please, please do me the honor of subscribing to my channel, sharing it with a friend, and even liking it if you feel inclined. I appreciate your love and support. I appreciate and just feel so lit up by the opportunity to be able to come on here and talk to you guys about things that are on my heart, and hopefully help people through whatever hard times they're going through. Because we're here for each other, and we're all one. We're all connected. We're all trying to survive and thrive and get through this life and just have the best time while doing it. We all want that. So be kind to each other, love each other. I love you, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye.